in the country first, and how you got into it?
I'm Sean. Nice to meet you. I'm from Kilkenny, so down the south of the country, and I'm studying in WAT. Yeah, it takes up a lot of my time. I'm very focused on training and stuff, so I don't have much time for doing the usual college stuff like going out and partying and whatever. But yeah, so I have to really exactly. Yeah. So.
It's the only thing you learn.
Yeah.
So 50% of my time is college, and the other 50% is pretty much cycling and working on training and focusing on nutrition and stuff like that. So just to answer your question about a nutritional side of point of view, cycling is more about like kind of eating the right things at the right time rather than focusing too much on what you eat. Like, so before you'd have a lot of carbs and stuff like that, and then after you try to get proteins and stuff into you, and it takes a lot of effort and a lot of time to be especially when you see, like I said, when you see your friends off partying all the time. And
so it's very different in the sense that with cycling, you know, guys when they get into fitness for kind of a hobby or to stay fit and so on, a lot of it's to do with keeping your weight down and that, but for cyclists they burn so many calories, you know, during, like, the guys could be burning between 4,000 5,000 calories per day, you know. So where most people will try avoid eating, these guys are pumping the carbohydrates into them to replenish it beforehand, during and after, and it's really, really short to get that into your system, you know. But it's obviously it's balancing that, and you're working out how many calories you're burning a day, how many you need to put in before, after, and your choice of when you do it is really important. So before stages, you know, a lot of the time the guys will be taking on. Some people are funny how they eat, and as stage races go on, it can become very hard to eat. But they'll have porridge, they'll have omelets for breakfast, that kind of stuff. Others will have actually pasta dishes. Sean's a man for his rice with absolutely nothing on it. Just
rice before
rice for breakfast.
I wouldn't recommend it.
But then, you know, during the stage, the guys are eating constantly. They have it's very hard to take it on, so they're taking energy gels, energy drinks, that are full of sugars. After the stage, we have a soigneur that looks after us, and basically it's a carer, and he's like their personal helper. He does massage, he does their bottles, he does their food, everything is done for them for the week. But it's really important that immediately after the race they get their protein into them and the right amount of carbs, and within the first 20 minutes, you know, because it's all about tissue repair, and it's in that first 20 minutes that it's really important to kick-start it. And then again, they're eating their big meals of carbs for dinner and snacking in between it. So it's very different to what the normal person would do. Keane's actually studying sports science, and we try not to let him talk about it because he knows too much.
But here's the floor. Come on to Mike, please. No, I suppose I'm Keane. I, like Sean, I'm from Dublin, so like Sean, I'm in full-time education, so I go to DCU, I study sports science and health. So I think, again, me and Sean, we're on the team now, but we virtually grew up racing together. Some of the very first races I would have been at when I knew nothing about cycling or racing or anything, Sean was there, and this is actually the first time we've been on the same team. So yeah, I do sports science and health, so they're quite linked into what I do on the bike. So virtually my whole life is about worrying about exercise and food. So yeah, I think all cyclists, they grow up very different to every other sort of person out there. We never have the same exposure. You know, when we're in school, we're taking exercise seriously, and then you put so much. Cycling is a very time-consuming sport, so instead of a 2-hour training session, maybe with rugby or the gym or something, 2 hours would be one of the shortest cycling training sessions you would do. So, time with college and time with cycling is the key thing. It's all about time. So yeah, it can be quite hard to manage the two. But like I said, Sean, it's 50-50, like nothing else comes in. I don't have a part-time job lined up this summer because it would conflict too much with my racing and with my college. But I suppose on the food side of things, yeah, it can be, food becomes a necessity, becomes a chore. It's not something that, you know, you can kind of enjoy or, you know, go out for a meal. it serves a function. So I don't take up cycling.
But actually, it
we
is
should
important
take
though,
it up.
because
Yeah.
he's talking about, it takes up so much time and so on. Obviously, the majority of people don't have time, and everything all the training has changed now. So, for people who do hold jobs and they want to, for whatever sport, it's before you would have said, you need your 5 hours a day on a bike or whatnot. Now everything has changed where you can break it down into that hour, but increase intensity, and it's more about when you don't have time and you only have your hour a day or something like that, you just have to think about it more, structure it more. Whereas before you can get out on your bike and you do your miles or whatever, but if you are really stuck with time, it is all about structure and how you plan it. You just have to think about it a little bit more, but you can get equally as much out of, like Adam's doing a lot of miles, whereas these guys are stuck to 10, a big week's 15 for them, whereas a big week for him is 25 hours, so it's, and both are riding the same race, and both are equally trying to get as much out of this race, so it's just about how you balance your life with your work and so on.
And is there any type of training that you could do outside, not on a bike? Would you go to do gym sessions or
Absolutely.
Oh yes, so
that's before in the past. The old school way of thinking would have been to just ride your bike all the time.
Yeah.
Everything now in every sport now, gym is key to everything. About fat burning, about working on having a more whole body approach, having a strong body. Cycling is all about power to weight. So people get fixated on being as skinny as they can, and you end up becoming weak and burning muscle and so on. Whereas actually, if you get into the gym and you work on your core, your any muscle imbalance, all that kind of stuff, and it's helping your skeletal system as well. Absolutely, it's a balance of having cycling, gym, running as well. This kind of stuff. But for cyclists, they prioritise that at different points of the year. Their off season would very much have a lot of that, whereas the more you come into your cycling season, you start to back off and it becomes a lot more focused.
And so what kind of exercises would you do in the gym that would specifically help you on the bike?
And look, this is that big debated question at the moment. The problem with the bike is that it's an endurance sport. The strength gains you get from normal gym work is kind of getting damaged by the endurance that you're doing on the bike. But the problem with the bike is that it's full of sprinting, it's very intense, you need to have a lot of power. So the best way of doing it is in the winter, you start off, you periodise your training where you work on maybe lighter weights, higher reps, you work on single-legged work, all this kind of stuff. And then after every 4 to 6 weeks, you start changing it so that you're working on more hypertrophy, you're trying to build muscle. You just have to be careful as a cyclist that you don't put on too much. But again, you got to, if you're in the gym, you make it specific. So if you're trying to build strength, you build strength, because it's very hard to do that on a bike without getting injured. There's a lot of, a bike, a change in a pedal can cause you to have a sore knee or whatever. Whereas in a gym, it's very controlled, so you can really work on your strength right there in a safer environment.
We might just ask Jennifer Bates, who's with us, is one of the elite female riders in the country, probably half dozen female riders. So she combines a very busy job with Aldi, their marketing department, with training at that elite level. So you might just give a flavour of how you balance that.
So I'm